Hey Matt, how's it going?
It's going.
So you might wonder why I'm wearing like a tie. I just came from this work event, and that's the reason behind it. It has little to nothing to do, but then I thought, why not? I can wear a tie for a thing. Uh,
Yeah, I want to assume that it's for me, that you got dressed
yeah,
up for me.
of
So,
course. One of my personal idols or heroes would be Larry King, and
hmm
I'm thinking if I just like lean in and do that thing he does, and
yeah.
yeah, there's something there. Nice to see you. So for those who are watching this, we should mention that we did this before on the May 15th, I think. So like, yeah,
hmm
2 weeks ago. Um, it was my very first interview that I conducted, and I'm still incredibly grateful for you signing up for it. But um, it was before I had my microphone set up properly, and there were a bunch of weird sounds in the background. And hopefully today it will be a lot better. But um,
Yeah, do I sound like last time? Because I had my AC going and stuff. So
no, 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 it's perfect. It's like clear as a bell. I just
awesome.
over here, I'm trying to like record my screen, and then I have the big fluffy microphone and just all sorts of things
Yeah, I
that
like the
that
fluff.
I I couldn't quite get it working last time, but I think it should be better now.
Nice. You're speaking into like a Pokemon or something. That's really cool.
That's right. That's right. How are you doing?
I'm all right. It was my day off, and I just kind of did nothing.
Awesome. Yeah,
So
good for you.
yes,
Um,
thank you.
Remind me, you're in where are you again?
I'm in New Hampshire.
New Hampshire. Okay. So up
Yeah.
here where I am, we've had forest fires and stuff, making the air all yellow and weird, and it's stinging my eyes, and I can feel it in my like voice and my throat and stuff. Do you get it down there in New Hampshire too?
We had some fires like a couple states away. I mean, states are small up here, so it's not that, big of a distance to travel.
Yeah.
But I remember a few years ago, like before the pandemic, we had some crazy fires in Oregon
Hmm.
that like it was raining ash and like it was crazy.
Scary.
But
Feels like the end of the
yeah.
world. Yeah.
Oh yeah. They had it in California too around the same time
Yeah.
where it's just like the sky was just red. But yeah.
Spooky.
Yeah.
I mentioned this last time, but just for posterity, I'm recording this. I'll share it with you after you'll get a chance to have a look through anything before I share anything.
Mhm.
If there's something you prefer I don't share, obviously I'll just cut it out. Everything I ask is voluntary. It will be shared on YouTube later. I think that's it. If there's anything
Yeah,
else, we'll talk about it.
do you have a plan for it? Like a different channel? I know everything that you have up is unlisted, right?
Yeah, that's right. That will change soon.
Mhm.
I looked back yesterday and I realized, I've done a fair few now, and
Mhm.
I still view this as just being the beginning. And once I have, I think 10 or so, um, I want to share them as some sort of playlist, um, and have that on YouTube somewhere. I just don't know where to share it because my YouTube channel today is just me playing music mostly or doing
Right.
tutorials and stuff. So we'll see where it goes. But my ambition is at least for it to be like in one playlist form. So if somebody hears from you, and then they can move on to listen to someone else, and a third person, and a
Right.
fourth, and so on to get more of a sense. Because I think we are all the people I've spoken to are very different people, but they exist within the same bubble, which makes it.
Right.
I mean, that's why I am interested in doing this because you get like different perspectives from a very niche topic.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Totally.
yeah,
Yeah, you'll have to send me. I wanted to watch Suffering Meats, but I didn't like when I saw it, I didn't have the time to like sit down
yeah,
for an
yeah.
hour.
I get that, and
So,
also, sharing it on Instagram makes it a little bit challenging too because it's not
right.
necessarily the place for long form content.
Yeah, it's up for a day.
Yeah, yeah,
Like I caught
exactly.
it like at the end of it.
Yeah, but
But
I'll share it with you. It was a really good one. He's a
yeah.
really, really nice guy.
Yeah, he's a good friend. Or I don't know, whatever, internet friend or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, exactly. I heard
Yeah.
someone make the distinction between IRL friends and URL friends, which is pretty dorky,
Mm.
but I also kind of like it.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
like that. That's good.
yeah.
I get it.
What was your day like?
Yeah, just a whole lot of nothing. I moved into my own apartment recently,
Okay,
which is why there's like nothing on the walls, but I also have like a couch where I can sit.
that's
So,
nice. Yeah,
yeah, I've just been kind of like taking that in and enjoying it, but it also feels super weird to like know that no one lives here. that it's just me. And then that slight panic of like, oh yeah, I got to pay everything. I got to set these things up,
Mm.
which is not like I can afford it, but it's still just like, I don't know. It's the first time ever like living by myself. So
Nice.
it's, yeah, it's cool.
But
I
but
can like
but
walk
you
around
know,
naked and
yeah, exactly, exactly. But
yeah,
when it comes to those things, there's no rush to do anything. I mean, you I suppose you have to pay your rent on time and stuff. But
right.
when it comes to unpacking all the boxes and getting the perfect layout for where your couch sits, like I've been living here for I think 3 years, and I still haven't figured it out. I'm still hanging new things on the wall and moving stuff around all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Where are you exactly? You said that you have fires. What state are you in?
Yeah, so I'm up north. I'm on the other side of the border in Canada.
Mm,
Yeah, yeah,
I didn't know that. I don't
yeah.
know why.
Yeah, I've moved around a fair bit. So started off in Sweden where I was born and raised, and then I lived in Los Angeles for a while, lived in London, England for a while, lived in Toronto for a while, and then I moved to Montreal where I am today.
Okay.
Yeah,
When we were in that group chat, where were you?
possibly. Um,
Oh, there you are.
I wanted to so we already went through all the questions or whatever. So I just sort of want to not redo them. I want to probe into a couple of things that I've been thinking about since last time. But
Okay.
there's one thing that we need to recap for the viewers or the listeners or however people absorb this. Tell me the story about your username again.
Okay. So yeah, I run an account called Now Available on Blu-ray. I stole this story pretty much. Um, One of my old friends was at a wedding, and his friend was getting married, and they have an autistic son that watched a lot of movies and would say like in the whatever the ceremony, now available on Blu-ray, and like while like they're just like saying there, it's great. But
I
yeah,
love that.
that's where I got it from.
Yeah, the in my head I've been replaying that a couple of times, just for
Right.
what it must have been like. And I
Oh, it'd
think
been awesome.
there's a scene in the sitcom, the show The Office, where Michael, the boss, he's at Phyllis and whatever Vance, I forget the Vance
Hmm.
refrigeration guy. He's at their
Right, right,
wedding and he gets a little bit ahead of himself and he's like, "Oh, now introducing for the first time ever, Mr. and Mrs. Vance. So may now kiss the bride, whatever." Like I see it in that sort of proclamation, loud voice
right,
in the middle of the ceremony.
right.
Now available on Blu-ray and DVD. Yeah,
Yeah,
so good.
yeah.
Um, what were your thoughts around the conversation we had last time?
It was good. I was nervous. I was hot. I was tired.
Yeah,
Like I was about to take a nap before it, so I was going to take another nap, but I just made coffee and I they should be fine. I don't know. I'm a really sleepy guy.
yeah, totally.
It's
I'm the
a
same. Yeah, maybe that's
yeah,
a
it's
thing that
nice.
unites us. Yeah, exactly. Just
Right, is
greedy
our
sleepers.
sleepiness.
Yeah. um, I always thought, growing up that people say, "Oh, it's just a phase kind of thing. You're just a teenager. People won't sleep like this forever." But for me, it's been very persistent. Like needing a lot of sleep.
Really?
Yeah. But the more I learn about sleep patterns and why people sleep, the more I think it's to facilitate growth and learning and brain function and stuff. So maybe being
Right,
a greedy sleeper means that I have I'm able to internalize a lot of knowledge and information. Hopefully,
right.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. I seem pretty forgetful. And
yeah,
I think it's more like it's a more recent thing for me. So
mm.
I think maybe my brain's like malfunctioning,
uh,
or just like degrading. So
yeah, maybe,
it's just like go to bed. So maybe it's trying to heal itself. I don't know.
yeah, maybe a bit of everything. I know
Yeah.
for me, I've only over the past like few years started to understand that I have more anxious tendencies. I never used
Hmm.
to think that. I used to experience the same thing, but I would always pinpoint it on something, or it would be a headache, or maybe I didn't eat properly, or maybe I didn't sleep properly. But now it's like maybe I was just anxious the whole time. It
Hmm.
just like took different forms. And one of the
Right.
things that always to this day like freaks me out is thinking that my brain is not working properly. So
Really?
if I forget something, or if I'm looking at a piece of text and I'm not able to absorb the information quickly enough, I get worried. I'm like, oh, okay, this must be some sort of, vascular dementia that's sinking its claws into me, and so
Right.
it's downhill from here.
Losing blood flow to your brain. Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's something
Hmm.
that keeps me awake at night when I'm not a
That's
greedy sleeper.
it.
Yeah.
Right. That's just more anxiety.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And then you start getting worried about being worried, which is
Right.
I've noticed a pretty bad cycle. Um,
Hmm.
but at the same time, I'm grateful for the fact that I can finally like put the words on some of the emotions that I've been experiencing my whole life, but sort of thinking that it was something else.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess you have to take the good with the bad, um,
Sure.
with growing older. Um, One thing that I have been thinking about since I last spoke with you. So you are like an extremely talented drummer,
Hmm.
and
Thank you.
I've spent a lot of time in my life like playing drums and stuff too. But I'm just curious, um, what's the role of music in your life?
I mean, I listen to music all the time. I prefer to listen to music on headphones. I was actually thinking about this recently because I moved in here. I was like, "Well, I should get some speakers, but I like to take it with me. I like to be fully like engulfed in it, right? Um, even like at work, I go to work early and I set up the restaurant and like I don't really want to talk to anyone, like especially before we open, like this is my time still. I just want to listen to my music and get everything done. Um, but as far as like exploring new stuff, I get stuck on a lot of shit. Like I find things that like have worked for me or whatever, like I don't know, just like the right song, and I'll be stuck on it for, a year. Like my Spotify Wrapped is always like pretty much the same artists or like,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
or
yeah,
like barely adjacent.
sure.
Um, I put a lot of music on my stories, and I've tried to like curate some playlists for people,
Mm,
but that's just like kind of like surface level as far as like my taste. Like it's definitely, I think, reflective of the account, right? Those playlists that I've made.
mm,
But I think my taste in music is a little bit more broad. But yeah, I hone in on certain things. Like I listened to like gore shit for like a while, which is just like really annoying, like just noisy, like fast, just crazy shit, and like was stuck on that for weeks.
yeah.
Um, but it was what I would listen to when I woke up till whenever. But
You know what? It's funny that you talk about the curated playlist and stuff. I don't use Spotify anymore because I have
mhm,
a personal vendetta against Daniel Daniel Ek, the
mhm,
founder and CEO. I don't like the guy, so I'm boycotting
yeah,
Spotify. But back before I became aware, I was always putting together like playlists that were based on the year. So
mhm,
not a genre or a type of music or anything. It's more like when do I listen to this? So it would be yeah, starting on sort of January 1st, I would set up a new playlist, and then I could go back and listen to the one in previous years and feel a little nostalgic. But one of the playlists
mhm.
that I had was called On Repeat All the Time. And it was literally that. So all the songs that were stuck in my head that I had to listen to over and over and over again, and found myself, like humming on and wanting to just like blast on repeat, I would put them in their own playlist. And it was so reassuring. It felt like very homey to have that.
Right.
Yeah, it was nice. Miss it
Yeah,
a little,
I
honestly.
that's a good idea. I
Yeah,
mean, I've always just like used my like songs, and but my like songs don't grow that much, or I'll take things off because I want to get back to those like ones that were, a few songs down.
yeah, yeah,
But or I'll make a playlist and just listen to it like nonstop.
yeah, yeah,
But I
exactly.
used to make them for people, but I don't really do that right now.
Yeah.
But
Why did you stop?
I'm not dating anyone. I think that's like
Oh,
a
okay.
romantic
It's a
thing,
romantic
you
thing.
know?
Gotcha.
Yeah, well, I think without the intention, but yeah, then I'm like, oh, dude, what I could make the best playlist, but
Yeah, yeah,
you
for
know,
sure, for sure. I once I had a project, or as part of work, I worked with a team for, I don't know, like 5 weeks, 6 weeks, something like that. And when I left, one of the people I worked with, he gifted me like a CD that he had burnt for some girl. but then never
Mhm.
ended up giving to her. So he gave it to me, and I was like, oh, okay, thank you, I guess.
Yeah, what
Uh,
a sweet
yeah,
gesture.
exactly. And it was like one of those cheap, burn in your own CD player, and it said like
Right, right.
for Allison or whatever her name was on it.
Nice. You got to be Allison.
Yeah, exactly. It was a very strange gift, but I
Was it
enjoyed it.
good?
I can't remember. Yeah, but I just
Do you
remember the
still have it?
gesture. No, I don't. I don't have a CD player. I haven't had one for years. I missed that a little.
Damn. Yeah, I don't
Um,
have that either.
yeah. What about like playing music? So listening to music, I get it, eclectic taste, all that stuff. But what about creating your own?
Um, I recently wanted to get some like beatboxes. We talked a little bit about it, and I watched some of your videos. Like you were doing one of the Korg 16 sequence
Oh
things
yeah, yeah,
with your,
yeah,
I forget what it's called.
yeah. Just like a little.
Deluge.
Yeah, exactly. The drum
That
machine
thing's
sequencer
crazy
thing.
to me.
It's insane.
Yeah,
It's I'm a
I
huge,
don't
huge
understand
fan.
it. Yeah, it looks amazing. Like I love that it lights up and it's just like that's fucking cool. Like it's that on its own is cool.
Yeah.
And then I've watched your videos playing it and I'm like, this is awesome. One of my like I used to make shitty like 8-bit chip tune kind of style music
Oh, cool. Okay.
on Fruity Loops for a while
Yeah,
when I
yeah.
was I was on house arrest when I was a teenager.
Oh.
And so like that's all I did. Like
That's funny. That's where I
like
started too. Yeah.
on house arrest.
No, not House Arrest, but Fruity Loops. Yeah.
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 Yeah. Fruity Loops is great. Like I used the demo and so I'd have to save the song. I couldn't close or I couldn't sorry, I'd have to export the song. I couldn't save the song.
Yeah.
So it'd have to be these like, 1 to 2 to 3 hour like sit downs of just like trying to figure out the song.
Mm.
And whatever I came up with, like I also don't have any like real like knowledge of like musical composition, right?
Hmm.
Or like music theory or anything like that. It was all by sound. And like a friend of mine would like teach me, he's like, okay, well, this is what an octave is.
Mm.
And we were listening to a lot of dance music or like dance inspired stuff. And so like I would just do octave bass notes and like kind of go from there. That was like the bass line or whatever the bass line.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, and then like program whatever stupid drums. But
And this
it was
is
fun.
before or after you got into actual playing real drums,
I
acoustic
was
drums.
playing drums when I was younger than that,
Yeah.
but I mean, having a drum set and a place to play it is fucking, it's just difficult.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
It's one of my
Like I would love to
like
have one here,
dreams
but
dreams for like life. When I think of a
right,
future, if I could have a place where I could play drums uninterrupted without bothering people at 3 in the morning, that's
right,
like I want that more than a fancy car or a swimming pool
totally.
or anything. Like
Yeah,
it's like at the very top of my list. It's crazy.
yeah.
Yeah.
I made a list of things that I wanted to get while I after getting sober,
Mm.
and that was like on that list, like a kit and
Hmm.
a place to play it.
Yeah.
Um, but
But it's
I still
difficult.
have those dreams.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
super difficult. And I was thinking about that too. Like this living in New Hampshire, I'm sure like if I lived a little bit outside of town, I
Mm.
would be able to do that. There's basements, whatever. But like living in Portland, it was so much easier, and that
Mm.
people are so much more like willing to deal with it or tolerate it.
Hmm.
I mean, obviously, if you do it at like a decent time, because it's such a music and art driven city. But yeah, it's been a long time since I played music, especially live
Yeah.
or with people.
So
It's
when
something.
you started out, was it just you? Did you play with friends? Like, was it a social context for it, or
So
yeah?
I mean, I started playing drums in like middle school, like
Mm.
drum class,
Hmm.
and like struggling to learn paradiddles, and I still don't have those down. But like, um, but yeah, that from there, like, I would just play on the jazz band kit at lunch. I lived in a
Mm.
trailer with my dad, so we definitely didn't have a fucking
Hmm.
drum kit at my house.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, and then going into high school, this dude, a sophomore, came up to me and was like, "Hey, I heard you play drums. I heard you're like good. Do you want to start a band?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then we played in bands like for years after that. Me and this dude Matt. Um, but yeah, that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
But then yeah, the Fruity Loop stuff was probably around 17, so
Yeah.
probably 4 years after I started playing drums.
So funny. So obviously, growing up different sides of the Atlantic Ocean, uh,
Hmm.
worlds apart, I see so many like similarities with you know, what we've chosen to do and when we've
Hmm.
chosen to do it. Okay, so the the next question that I have from my thinking around this is, um, how does music tie into your Instagram account? Like, what are the similarities between how you think about music and how you think about what you post online, if anything?
Um, I mean, there are similarities. I will usually, what I used to do, I used to smoke a lot of weed and like just listen to music and watch videos. And so some videos would come up with certain songs playing. And so I would just kind of like record that with the music playing in the background, or I would find shit that like kind of fit. And I still have some of those videos. Like there's this girl dipping her toes into lemonade at a lemonade stand, and it's like Dan Deacon playing in the background,
Mm,
which is just like really like I don't know, it just fit really well.
sure.
And then there's actually the Swedish like band Slagsmas Klubben. I don't know if I'm saying that right.
Yeah.
Fight
Close
Club.
enough. Fight Club,
Um,
exactly.
but I have that one with this like this giant guy in like an inflatable frog costume with a huge dick, and it's just like this very like pleasant like I don't know. It sounds like a Super Nintendo game, like Kirby's Wonderland,
Mm,
whatever sort of sound. But then I think with my I like annoying things and like grating things and like offensive stuff, and so having like my stories have a lot of like just annoying songs over and over again. I think, or try like there's definitely times where I try to make it annoying. Um, yeah, I don't know. I think that there's that's the best answer for that. I guess.
yeah,
I don't
totally,
know.
totally. So maybe let's dive into that a little bit. So you said annoying songs, and I would say, as an outside observer, you have an account that very deliberately tries to annoy a lot of people.
Yeah.
Uh,
Hmm.
tell
I've
me
lost
more
a lot of
about your view on that.
followers recently.
Why is that?
Um, I think because people think I'm like an awful person, which I'm not, but like there was someone you shared recently that like and I was like, oh, they follow me, and I went to go look and like they don't follow me anymore. Which is like it's fine. And I don't know. I'm like, well, maybe I'll tone it down because like people don't know me, you know,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
and then I'm like, I'll like suddenly appear on my story talking about like being sober or like diarrhea. Like I don't know. Like it's just it's weird. But I've been thinking about it a lot lately because yeah, I'm like I'll get like maybe 5 followers a day and then lose like 10 or 15, which
mm,
is a lot when
mm,
you're not gaining any followers. Um, but then I'm like, why do I care about this? Like we talked
yeah,
about this
yeah,
last time a
yeah,
little bit,
yeah,
but like I don't know. I think I'm falling like less, or more and more out of love with it.
yeah.
But then like there's a like slight addiction to it, right?
Mm.
But yeah, I'm trying to remember exactly what your question was.
Mm.
Basically, I post shit that people don't like. But like I don't care, man. Like
So
it's
why do you
fun.
post it? Why do you post?
I mean, some of the shit it depends on what it is, right? Like there's shit that I post just because it's extreme. There was that like weird cuck thing that I posted today that I really enjoyed. Like I enjoyed that stuff. I would like I enjoy like people failing. There in the past I used to like kind of like consider it like pain and then relief or whatever, having something cute with something like either someone going through some like emotional like trauma or stress or whatever, or getting like or hurting someone's feelings or what the fuck ever. Um, but yeah, I don't really care. I think it sucks though when like accounts that I like unfollow me because I'm like, oh, that sucks. I
Mm,
don't think they know who I am,
mm, mm.
But like we've had like brief conversations, but it's this is the life that I chose, so
Yeah,
it's
and I mean, I can relate to that, and also I by posting the types of things that we routinely post in our little community or whatever you would call it, in a lot of interactions you have in like just regular life, it's like you maintain this aura of this neat, tidy, smiley, professional, whatever you want to call it. Um, whereas you, myself, sometimes, and a lot of other people that are, in a similar um, as part of this culture, they go sort of almost the other way with it, and it's almost like how much can you get away with stuff without people thinking that you are actually a bad person.
Right.
And I don't mean that to, in the like the edge lord sense, or maybe I do. Like
I
maybe
think
that's
that was a
actually what
lot
it
of it for
is.
me. Yeah. I mean, that's how I, growing up, like I used to wear like anti-Christian t-shirt, like just stupid like
Mhm.
shit now that I look back on, like, fuck, that was cringe. But also like, it's just something that like, how can I like poke or prod at people
Yeah,
and like, how far can I push it?
yeah,
Um, and I think that's still there to a sense.
yeah,
But then on the flip side, part of me is like, I just want to be a better person.
yeah, yeah.
But
I understand that, but those two things, they have to coexist. I'm
right.
very similar. I always have to distance myself from the people around me.
Mhm.
I have to show that I'm the opposite somehow. If I'm around the jocks, I'll be the nerd, and if I'm around the nerd side, I'll be the jock. Not
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, well, it's because I'm so ripped, obviously. But
Yeah,
but
you're
you get my point that I want to sort of go towards the other extreme,
yeah, go against the grain. Yeah,
and while simultaneously, being lonely and wanting to fit in and wanting to have friends and stuff, and you have to sort of walk this balance where you don't conform too much and feel like you betray yourself and your
right.
integrity and what makes you unique and the potential you have in the world, but also not being unapologetic to the point where you actually truly like alienate and ostracize people or ostracize yourself.
Yeah, well, that's I think the most important part. Like, I don't want to alienate myself.
Yeah.
Like, there's, I've talked about like this with people,
Mm.
like people that like whose opinions I share, like people who like I value, and like it's fuck, I'm losing my train of thought. Basically, like I don't. Sorry, I'm gonna have to come back to this. I just forgot what I
Yeah,
was saying.
it's fine. We'll come back to
It
it.
was really good though. Yeah.
I'm sure it was. We'll tie it back. So okay, music ever since like a young age, middle school, all those things. When did you get into Instagram to begin with?
Well, I mean, when did I start doing the account?
Yeah, like when did you start your first account?
Oh, that was forever. I mean, my personal account was forever ago.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was kind of similar. Like, I didn't really like feel the need to post myself too much. I'd post like I was drinking a lot back then with like friends,
Mm.
and would like post weird pictures of us like doing stupid shit,
Mm.
or like music stuff, like playing shows. Because that's when around the time that I was in this band where like I was doing vocals, which was like kind of the first time for me,
Mm.
which also made me like more like feel more like I needed to be like this edgy like weirdo.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, that was that, and then I didn't. Yeah, I think that was my only account until I started the first Blu-ray account.
Mm.
But yeah,
And when
and
was
that
that?
was
When did you actually like double down on this?
so. I I was talking to this admin who ran Soaking Wet Angel, and like I kind of was just like, well, maybe I'll start my own account
Mm.
and see how it goes. And I had a really bad account. Like
Mm.
I just like posted weird things that because I didn't know what to post, and I wasn't even like following accounts really. Like I just found this one account that like really resonated with me with like similar humor, just like gay jokes, whatever, different like silly, goofy shit, and like horniness and whatever. And I was like,
Mm.
okay, this is cool. And then like I was introduced like a bleeding or breeding castle started following me,
Mm.
and then I found out they lived. I don't know if they lived near me. I
Mm.
don't know if they want me to say,
Mm.
um, but and so like that kind of like introduced me to more like just that end of the spectrum of posting. Um, and then I lost my first account like almost immediately because I was posting like the weirdest, sketchiest shit that I could find on Instagram, and I was so offended and hurt by it because I'm like, because it was my
Oh,
first time,
okay.
like
And tell me more about that. Like, elaborate on your feelings when you lost your account.
I was shocked. I'm like, what? I didn't deserve this. Like
Yeah.
even like the first time I got a violation, I didn't know what that meant.
Mm.
Like it was just weird. Um, but I mean, that was like the first of many to end up being, being just lost. But yeah, then I quickly started. I had this like plan. I'm like, because it was now available on Blue. I'm like, well, once I get to three, it'll be 3D. and then like which I did.
Yeah.
And then I did some different like I tried some different usernames. I think one was I have not had sex or I've had sex, something like that.
Mm.
That one did all right, but I was just trying to like see if someone was like reporting me and maybe if I went under some. I didn't know.
Mm.
I got reported all the time or violations all the time. I shouldn't say
Did,
reported.
did you ever get to the bottom of that? Do you like know where it's coming from?
No, no. I thought it was like personal vendettas from
Mm.
people that I know
Yeah.
or whatever. Like my paranoia like went ran rampant and just like kind of at this point it's just like it is what it is,
Yeah.
but there'll be like these weird like weekends where it's like 7 violations and
Yeah.
like 4 of them get reposted, but that's the thing too where I'm like, okay, this wouldn't get flagged, why is this getting flagged,
Yeah.
where I'm like, okay, so this feels like someone was like looking for something to
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, it's obviously hard to tell because they make it so ambiguous whether
Right.
this is a violation that's actually a violation because they sound they Meta the actual language of the violation strikes. When they say we've deleted your post or we've suspended your account or whatever it may be, it sounds so. It speaks with conviction.
Hmm.
You posted something that violated the terms and conditions, whatever, and then
Right.
you go like, what are you talking about? I wasn't trying to sell drugs or show a terrorist organization, whatever it was. And then you
Yeah,
just
which is
then you say like, I would like to request a review. And
yeah.
then they come back a little bit later and they say like, oh yeah, we had a look at this thing and obviously, yeah, it wasn't bad, so we reposted the account. And
Right.
but the burden of evidence is sort of on you. It's like they tailor the platform to whoever complains the loudest, and
Right.
it makes it difficult because it's not personal because they want. I mean, I can only
Yeah, you
assume
can't.
they want a culture where people can sort of turn each other in and they can report stuff and foster the pettier sides of people without any repercussion, without
Right.
accountability. So it's really easy to go out there into the world and just flag report, and
Yeah,
there's
you could
there's
do it
no
to
follow up
anyone
ever,
for
and the
anything.
person you're doing
Right.
it to, they're the ones who have to deal with the consequences, which
Right.
becomes almost like a running joke where you see people posting the self harm things, like somebody thinks that you could use a little extra support right now,
Right. That's it. Yeah.
where
I
people
think
just
that's language. Like I think Instagram's algorithm like pays attention to language. I think I said I'm like I'm over it or something, and
mm-hmm,
then I got one of those.
mm-hmm,
But I don't think. Yeah, we're reaching out to offer help or some like
exactly,
someone's. Yeah, I think 99% of the time that I received it,
yeah,
it's not anyone personally doing it. But
yeah,
then again, I don't
yeah,
know. I've been pretty like
it's
distraught
ambiguous,
on
right?
that
It's
account.
hard to tell. And also it's like they say one thing but it feels like something else. So if they say we're reaching out to offer help or whatever it may be, it feels like you're reaching out to tell me to stop posting things that make this
Yeah.
a less business friendly environment, not to offer any
Yeah.
help. um,
Right.
so it's I think the more you sort of probe into the specifics of how the different behaviors are incentivized on the Instagram side, the more you see those like cognitive dissonances between here's what we say and here's what we do, um,
Right.
which I don't know, it frustrates me to no end. But I honestly think that had it not been for all these limitations, it wouldn't have been a space where it's fun to be a little bit flippant or to like
Right. See what
challenge.
you can get away with. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. Like that's part of the creativity of it, right? Like how can you misuse this in an elegant and engaging way?
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've hidden a lot of penises in my like posts and stories. Uh, you know,
yeah,
it's really, and when I get away with it, I feel really good about it.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean that's also like okay, like I'm putting my account at risk. It's like almost a self-destructive thing
yeah.
because like I've lost so many at this point. Like it's just like okay, if I'm doing this, I know what I'm doing. Like it's my fault,
It's
and I will do
more
that. I'm like, well, fuck
calculated.
it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I get it.
Um, but yeah,
Where do you see your account going in the future?
I don't know. I think I'll stop eventually. We talked about this last time as
Mm-hmm,
well.
mm-hmm.
I don't I get less and less out of it. I think there's times just like any like interest I have in my life where it has like ebbs and flows, right? Where it's like super fun and then it's not super fun. I've been shadow banned for like weeks now because like, and I haven't like talked, I haven't been like posting like, oh, I got another violation, go follow the backup
Mm-hmm.
because I'm worried that maybe someone is reporting it and they're like, I don't fucking know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I've I get to be myself on it in ways. Like I get to talk about my sobriety on it, which is really fun, and people like care about it for the most. Like I think certain followers,
Mm-hmm.
so that's cool. I enjoy that. Like I look for every my sobriety date landed on the 1st of October, so every month on the first, I post like I have another month sober,
Oh
and
yeah.
I
Okay.
really look forward to that.
Yeah.
Um,
Nice.
but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming in like 1 to 2 months, maybe three, if I'm lucky, I'll lose my account again. And then, you know, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I've considered starting, I have a like totally like no one knows about this account, like, just to see like what happens if I don't use Blu-ray, right? Like if I
Yeah.
completely like not following Blu-ray, like nothing, right? Like just detached and
Yeah.
see if I can start from. But then it's like I don't. I'm gonna post the same. It's gonna be obviously me, and then I'd have to remain anonymous entirely, so no one.
Do you know
But
Jeff Buckley, the guy who made that Grace and Hallelujah, made a rendition of
mhm,
the Leonard Cohen song.
right,
He used to play like tiny shows under what's the word pseudonym?
pseudonym,
Yeah,
yeah,
um, just to sort of step away from his own fame and try stuff out and be experimental and annoy people, um,
right,
which I always thought was a cool thing to do. And I mean,
yeah,
if you don't feel like you're attached to your own name or brand or history or whatever,
brand, yeah, yeah,
you can experiment.
right,
Um, I know that even in my personal life, maybe it's a little bit different, but like when I've been in relationships and we've broken up, gone our separate ways after, I've always sort of thought of that as an opportunity to reinvent myself and to become more of a person who does something that I've always kind of wanted to do that I always felt like I couldn't express properly in the
uh-huh,
relationship. Because if you go from on one day you're just whoever you are, and then the next day you pick up a new behavior or a new pattern or you pick up a new interest, it can feel almost like can I do that? Will that affect the relationship? Will I go in a different direction? Will they judge me? What if they don't like me as much? How if maybe it affects the relationship? But
mhm,
when you don't have those things weighing you down anymore, you can like find yourself. You can experiment with your own expression. And I think by doing an anonymous Instagram page or playing a show for a tiny little bar somewhere under a different name. Like, yeah, I don't know. To me, it's a cool way of exploring like different parts of your being.
yeah. Yeah, I've thought of like maybe about just doing like video only or something, but it's still, I mean, at its core, like I'm still me,
Yeah,
right? And it's like
yeah, yeah,
I think it'd be different if it was a music project, right? Then I could invent a different sound or or come up with something new. But it is, I still want to. I was like, okay, well maybe I'll do something like you and Suffering Meat do, where I'm like, okay, let's just find like more interesting things, not necessarily just like shitty memes
mm,
or whatever that are like hurtful to people. Um, but I don't know. We'll see. It's I still have it there, and like I think a handful of people know about it.
yeah.
Uh, but yeah, it's just I don't know.
So
We'll
where do you
see.
want it to go?
That account or
Mm.
the I don't know.
I
For
think
now, it's
both.
just so yeah. For this account, my current account, I would just like it to like stay fun somehow and like
Yeah,
I don't know. We the biggest my account ever got was 9,000 followers. I
yeah,
got deleted shortly after. I had a couple like celebrities following me, which was fucking crazy to me.
yeah.
Like because I'm just posting weird, sketchy shit, like whatever I want. And even half the time, like I'm so lazy. I don't think a lot of shit on Instagram is good anymore. That I'm just like going through my library of photos and using old shit. So it's like it's not even like I'm doing the work anymore.
Yeah.
Like I'm just like going and finding like, oh yeah, I haven't seen that in a while. I'll put that up. Um, but yeah, so I lost that, and that kind of took the wind out of my sails.
Mm.
But I don't know. I just would like to see how far I could get again, and then we'll see then. Like, like
Yeah,
once
yeah,
this account gets deleted, we'll see then. I didn't want to make a backup at
yeah,
all.
yeah. I get it.
Um, yeah, it wasn't fun. It lost like a lot of its fun, and I'm like, okay, well, this is it. This is the end. And then that's kind of when I was like, well, maybe I'll like start this new one, like completely anonymous.
Mm,
Don't share anything personal, just like be weird or whatever. Um, and like very vague, which that's kind of so if I was to do this account, that's where I'd want that to go, is
mm.
just to be this weird, vague, anonymous account that like I don't know. I would like people. I'd like to have some engagement still, but like not have it be known that it was me,
Yeah.
and then maybe reveal it was me. Shock everybody.
You know what I've come to notice with I don't know the couple of years that I've posted stuff. No one cares. Like
Yeah.
no one gives a shit. They're busy, watering their plants and picking up their kids after school and cooking dinner. Like nobody cares about me, which I think is well. I mean, people care about me in my personal life and stuff. I
Yeah.
just mean for the vast majority of people, I can sometimes feel like, oh my god, what if people knew that I'm reposting a meme that could be misconstrued to be perceived as being a little edgy? Who cares? No one cares. Like people
Right.
I'm sensing a bit of a shift in how people interact with Instagram. I feel like it's quieter.
Hmm.
People aren't on it as much, and maybe it's just like summer and people have a real life and they go outside and go back
That's
to
part
work
of
and
it
all
for
those things,
sure.
return to the office, whatever. Um, but like, yeah, I feel like you can do kind of whatever you want, and who's gonna judge you? And even if they do judge you, does it matter?
Right.
There was
This is
oh, go ahead.
sorry. This is kind of what I was touching on earlier.
Yeah.
Like with like posting sketchy shit, right?
Hmm.
Like I post like homophobic, whatever, any sort of phobic bigotry, like you name it, like I post that.
Hmm.
And like what do I care if these people who I don't know think anything of me,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
whether it's a vague idea of who I am,
Hmm.
like because maybe there is a little truth to something,
Hmm.
but like they're gonna think whatever. And like you said, like we're just a blip in their day.
Yeah.
Like it's I post once a day maybe, and then the 10 slides to go through and maybe a video. So it's like maybe they interact with or see it for a minute.
Yeah. And
Um,
and, and
but yeah, what
obviously,
do I care?
I don't know the intent behind your account. Like I don't know what you actually believe to be true, or what you think is justified to point and laugh at something versus point
Right.
and laugh at the concept and how absurd it is. Because
Mhm.
satire is really difficult to pin down. But
Right.
it has always been my assumption that you highlight absurd behaviors. You highlight the type of different phobias because they are ridiculous in their own right, or they emphasize something in a way that is too extreme to be credible, and it seems a little staged or a little contrived,
Right.
whatever. Like it's not, you're not saying here's a group of people that I think are bad. You're saying here is how people express the disdain for that group of people in a way that's crazy.
Right.
Like that was always my
Obviously, I
understanding. Like it's a little bit removed. But to your point, obviously there are times when for some things to really resonate and annoy, if there's an element of truth to it or an element of a perception that can be taken to be true, it's a lot more effective. But then again, you have to
yeah,
sort of
it's
do the
impactful.
dance around
Right.
it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's I don't know. This is kind of yeah, like you said, I'm doing that sort of well, I think everyone's doing that dance around it,
Hmm.
whether it's me trying to like, curate this thing that like is offensive
Hmm.
or like people trying to figure out like who did I follow?
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's I think it goes back to that like wanting to push buttons, see what I can get away with. And also, yeah, like a lot of it is absurd behaviors, absurd things. Like if I post Hitler, it's not like I'm like, yeah, dude, Hitler was a good dude. Like
Yeah.
it's not that's not my belief, but like I've been posting a lot of like Taylor Swift and Hitler together,
Yeah.
and I think that's just silly. And I think that there are certain things that are obviously a joke that people completely miss, right? Um, but yeah, it's I think the context of what the actual post is, right? Whatever that single image or video is
Hmm.
matters, right?
Of
We're just
course.
talking
Of course.
generally, but
Yeah.
yeah, but then again too, like I think a lot of fucking people suck, you know, and then like there's that dance again of like, okay, do I want to let these people know that they suck or like portray that they suck or
Hmm.
whatever? Or do I want to be a nice guy and live and let live, whatever? Like
Yeah,
I'm trying to do both,
you
you
can do a
know,
little bit
like
of
I
both, definitely.
right.
Yeah. Um, if you could go back to the first time you created an account and logged on to Instagram, would you do it again? And if so, how would you do it differently versus the same?
Yeah, I would do it again. I mean, like I've made like really awesome friendships on here. Like I enjoy talking to you. I enjoy talking to Pilates wife.
Hmm.
Like I've dated people, you know, like
Hmm.
I've had like amazing, like fulfilling relationships
Hmm.
from Instagram and just also like I was able to do something that I enjoyed. Um, you know, I wouldn't have done it if I didn't enjoy it, right?
Yeah.
Um, and I think too, like we were kind of talking about earlier, people kind of disengaging. I started when it was like the pandemic.
Yeah.
Um, Not my personal account, but like doing the meme account or whatever, this fucking curation. Um, and yeah, it was something to like pass the time. Like it helped and like it was fun and it allowed me to just like do something. We had to do something. So, um, but yeah, I would do it again.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't think I would do anything differently. I think I would lose all my accounts again. And yeah,
Yeah. You live and
I'd
learn.
be, yeah, or
um,
something.
when is Instagram at its best to you? Like when are you having the most fun?
Hmm. When I'm, probably, this is so stupid. I love rewatching my stories. I love finding something that like I really like and that I know that hasn't been shared yet because there's this weird sense of ownership. Like, ooh, I found this when I fucking didn't. You know, like I definitely didn't find this. Um, but yeah, I met Beta Jizz through this. Like, so that's like I'm in a group chat with her and my friend Jake, who has an account called Mail on Mail, and like that's amazing. Like we have a lot. We send each other the sounds of us pooping, which is really cool.
Sounds
Like,
lovely.
yes, it's really great, especially coming from Beverly because her account is so like just sexually driven and like whatever. Like it's her only whatever,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
It's her work account,
Hmm.
and and like I'm just like I met this girl, and now we send fucking the like diarrhea sounds like, so that's cool. She's great. But
Yeah. Sure.
yeah, it's awesome.
So,
But
what makes something funny to you? Like, what makes you react in that way?
diarrhea sounds are
Aside
really
from
good.
Beverly pooping, yeah.
She'll be happy that I shared that too. What makes me laugh? I don't
Yeah.
know. It was different when I was smoking weed because a lot of shit made me laugh.
Mm.
I like uncomfortable shit. Not cringe shit entirely, but just like weird shit, like extreme. There's this one guy, his name's like Devin something, and he's like this TikTok guy, and all he does is like he has this weird like lisp, and I don't know if he's like stupid or something, but he just talks about like sucking dicks and like whatever. Like it's just crazy. And he's on Cameo, and you can like spend fucking $50 to have him send a video of himself to your friend
Wow.
talking about how he's gonna suck their dicks and it's you'd have to see it, but just stupid shit like that.
Yeah.
Like I said, the whole like cuck stuff that's always really good. I don't know, like
Why?
failures in
Why
like
is it good?
I don't know, man. It's just like people fucking like going through it, like people feeling the need to like bring their personal lives online and like seek help from others doing the same stupid shit, like going through the same pains of like being in an open relationship or whatever. Like that's just like you're all so stupid. um, and then I forget there was this account based with swag who
Mm.
got found out for screenshotting like some Reddit,
Hmm.
and then like he found or someone found them calling him out about him posting shit on Instagram, and I was like, that's amazing. Like I forget what it was, whether it was like meth or like our meth or like something, but it
Yeah.
was just like that's awesome.
Okay. And conversely, like when do things go too far? When do you not laugh anymore?
I don't know. I mean, this is I didn't enjoy my answer to this question last time. Um, I don't think it depends on what. Like, I don't like seeing people die, right?
Hmm.
Like, I don't like seeing people die on Instagram. That's crazy.
Hmm.
Um, but I'll still watch that shit, right? And
Hmm.
like, but as far as like jokes go, if the joke's not funny, then it's gone too far, right? Like,
Hmm.
if it's just at the sake of just being hurtful and shitty
Hmm.
with like no real like punchline, then that just sucks.
Yeah.
But like, if it's funny, I don't care like what it's about.
Yeah.
It's funny. Like,
See,
um,
I mostly agree with you. I think I don't think there's anything. There's no topic that you cannot poke fun at, or have
yeah,
like an intelligent sort of observation about, or something that's like genuinely funny when you poke at it. But I do think I'm yeah, maybe I'm more on the free speech extremist side, but
hmm
I think there are lots of offensive things on almost any topic because it's a lazy take, or it's a
hmm
shitty worldview, or it's something that's just like doubling down on its ignorance and it's being cruel or
right,
hurtful, or poking fun of stuff that people didn't choose for themselves, or they have no say in. Um, yeah, like things that people can't help. I think that makes something a lot less funny. But when people make, say poor choices, even though they should know better, like that automatically takes it into this is probably going to be a good time territory for me.
right.
Um, but it has to be like, yeah, related to taste, as opposed to like when people just poke fun of someone because they have a facial deformity. Like that to me is like,
Yeah,
well,
that's not cool.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's not. There's nothing clever about it. It's just like
no.
pushing people under the bus.
I'm trying to think of like maybe there was an instance like there could have been, and I'm sure like if, but that's the thing. Like someone kind of has to be in on the joke for it to be,
Yeah,
like. But yeah, if you're just like bullying someone,
yeah,
that's not,
it's not as funny.
who like has something that like they can't control.
Yeah,
That is like, that's just not cool.
yeah,
Like I'm not into
yeah.
that.
But
But yeah,
there's no like specific topic, even like sensitive topics, that upset people. I think you can do them right if you're being smart about them, or you can highlight them in such a way um, where you see something that previously no one else saw, or you treat people as equals by making fun of them too. Like I think there's like,
right.
yeah, yeah, there's lots of stuff. But I agree with you. I can't even watch stuff where people get injured and stuff. I'm too squeamish, which I've
Yeah.
noticed.
No, there's definitely videos that have like stuck out in my head that like
Yeah,
I can remember where I'm just like, oh, like I'm just watching this, like so innocent, right? Just
yeah,
watching this video and then
yeah,
like someone gets shot.
yeah,
I'm
and
like,
then
I don't like that.
you can't go back.
But
Yeah, I remember
no,
I'm sure it was the same where you were, but when you were like 12, 13, and they would like challenge you in school to check out this crazy website with this crazy picture, and it's like, oof,
yeah, Tub Girl.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. To this day, it's like, oof, why did I look at that thing? That was bad.
I
Um,
like that image. I would get that tattooed on me.
you
Uh,
need to find some
might as
space
well.
though. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have a lot, but
Yeah.
I don't know. For something that's that good, that special, I can make room.
Um, so you said
Oh,
9,000 followers at some point.
yeah.
Is that right? Um,
hmm
how have you been? Uh, how has fame impacted you? Because 9,000 is still like it's a sizable chunk of the population.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, it didn't do anything. I mean, like when I lost it, like I got it back for a little bit,
Hmm.
and I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna keep posting how I post because this is what got me my followers or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like it's also just me being myself. I'm not trying to post. I've thought about this. Like I'm like, well, maybe I'll post like mid and like just kind of like post lazy, like lame, fucking boring shit, and like
Hmm.
that sucks, and that's not fun.
Yeah. That's right.
Um, but I don't know. I continued to do exactly what I was doing. Um, I I think that like it was just this is weird. There's been times where I'm like I know this. Oh, I think this you and Suffering Meat talked about this, where it's like that meme of the guy at the party, where like you don't know that I'm this guy or whatever, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
Like so, my coworker started following my account, and she was like, "Hey, like one of your followers comes in here all the time to my work," and I'm like, "That's weird,"
uh-oh,
like
yeah, yeah,
because like I'm like out of millions of people in the U.S., like this one kid, probably a fucking kid, uh, like comes into my work, and maybe he knows who I am,
yeah,
but like, and it doesn't matter
yeah,
because it just doesn't matter. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't feel like I ever like felt like I got any sort of fame out of it. I was just something that like I have to reveal to people
mm,
that I'm slightly embarrassed about.
mm,
And like afraid that they're going to hate me afterwards.
mm. But
But
I think that's kind of what unites all of us, right? Like there's this fear, and there's a
mhm,
bit of shame,
yeah.
and
Yeah, I'm 34 years old, like posting like weird, sketchy shit online. Like it's just that's cool.
but what I've what I've come to find though is that almost all the quote unquote good accounts are slightly older. There are exceptions. There are teenagers that post really spectacular, funny
Mhm.
things. But I don't know about you, but I feel like it took me a long time to embrace the fact that I can be funny or I can be insightful. Like that wasn't something that was a given. I think
Mhm.
if you would have talked to me 10 years ago, I didn't know that I can be funny. Sure I could make my friends laugh, kind of a thing, and but then I get shy and I feel awkward.
Yeah.
But then you get a little bit older and you're like you're just having a good time, or you don't care as much, and you realize that
That's I think what it is.
yeah,
Yeah. I think
yeah,
you just stop caring as much.
yeah,
Because at that point, like if you don't care, then you can kind of just do whatever, right?
yeah,
There's no like real consequence. I mean, at least for yourself, right?
yeah,
Um, and that's yeah. I don't want to give a shit about what people think, but also then like I said, I still see people unfollow me. I'm like, well, that hurts, but
yeah,
like I'm gonna forget about it,
yeah.
whatever. I don't remember who it is,
But
but
yeah, I agree. At the beginning, yeah, I'd get offended about weird things on Instagram. Like I would be a little bit butthurt when somebody would repost something that I reposted that I
it
didn't
didn't tag you.
didn't tag me, and
Yeah,
like that's what I did. What's
yeah, that's
wrong
just
with
like
me?
kind of like beginner stuff. I used to do the
Yeah,
same thing, be like, nice fucking post, man, or whatever, like,
yeah,
oh, you stole this from me, which I didn't fucking tag anyone that I took it
yeah,
from,
exactly.
and like, I'm an
But you're
idiot.
like indignant now that they did the same thing to
Right. And this person
you.
who's also been doing it's like, okay, fuck off. Like,
Yeah,
like they're
exactly.
already like versed in this whole like fucking
Yeah,
thing. And I'm just like, how dare you?
and
How dare you take from me?
people unfollowing you, and people sharing things that are not like in good faith. I experienced that pretty early on, and I was like, wow, they're
Mhm.
poking fun at me, jerks. And then I forget if I told you the story, but there was a guy who sent me I don't know, like um, he sent me a meme, I guess, saying this might be of interest to you, and I don't know if you do submissions, but whatever. Here's a thing. And I was like, oh, I know this guy.
Mhm.
We were friends. We grew up together. So I was like, hey, it's me. Um, and then he just like left me on red. and, and I was devastated by this. Like it took me, and this is like somewhat recent too, and like maybe a year
Uh,
ago. And I reached out to him because we were friends on Facebook. I was like, hey, I don't know if it's me. You don't have to be all weird about this, and left me on red again. So yeah,
damn.
that was devastating.
Yeah, I've had like old coworkers find me and like I reached out. I'm like, hey, dude,
Yeah,
did you? Because I couldn't tell if it was them. I'm like, did you work here? And they're like, who is this? I'm like, it's Matt. And they're like, they didn't respond at first. I'm like, fuck.
yeah,
But eventually, like, we were like, oh shit. He's like, I didn't fucking know. And I'm like, how did you find me? And like, him and some other coworkers had been
yeah,
sharing my account, not knowing it was me.
crazy.
And like,
Yeah,
yeah, so that was cool.
but
But
when those lines cross, like I think it can be a really good thing. It can be something that is a source of internet points, clout.
right,
But yeah,
right.
there certainly is like some kind of shame attached to it for me.
Yeah,
It's very much like a guilty pleasure. Um,
sure, absolutely. Yeah, you
in
kind of found out if that happens,
yeah,
right?
in how almost like compulsive it is, And
Hmm.
how indulgent it is too. Like I'm sharing stuff that makes me laugh, you know,
Right. This
and
is you in like in a pure way, in a certain way,
yeah,
right?
exactly, exactly. I'm not trying to convey a specific message or a specific tone or anything. It's just like here's something that
Right.
I think is interesting today in this moment. Therefore, I'm sharing it, and
Hmm.
then yeah, it exposes you in a way where I think maybe that's where the shame comes from. Yeah,
Yeah. The thing that happens with me, I'll forget that like I have people I know following me, and then
mm.
I'll have an emotional day and act like a fucking idiot
Yeah,
on there, thinking no one, like someone's like, "What?
yeah,
What are you doing?" I'm like, "Ah, it's a me, it's a joke," but it's like not, like having like a mental breakdown. But
yeah, yeah. But it all translates to the little screens on our phones.
right,
um, what's something you wish that more people knew?
knew about what, me,
Anything,
or
literally
I
anything,
don't
big
know.
or small.
I wish that people knew when to shut up. Like these people think that they're very important. I think people just need to chill out a little bit. I think I don't know. I guess that I think people need to stop talking as much.
We're
But
getting close to the hour, so we'll stop talking soon.
oh, yes, good, good. Um, no, yeah, I don't know. I don't really know. I wish I just knew more, I guess. I feel very stupid and stunted in a lot of ways. Um, and I would like to educate myself more or even read more. I got that book, House of Leaves, and I'm like, I'm gonna read this book. It's supposed to be hard to read, and I haven't even fucking touched it. I don't know if you know about this book at all. Um, but I think it's supposed to be scary.
Okay.
Anyways, it doesn't matter. There's like weird liner notes, and it's like fucking like there's like stories within stories, and like it's all weird. I'm like, I'm gonna read this, and I
Mm.
just don't.
Mm-hmm.
I just do the same shit because it's comfortable, and I think that kind of goes back to like what I post, right,
Mm-hmm.
or how I act on my account, or keep making a new one. Like I just
Mm.
do what is comfortable and known. But yeah, I kind of wish that I just knew more. Like, yeah, rather than other people.
Okay. Well, fair enough. I would like to challenge that a little, both for you and maybe for myself too. But I sometimes um, think that being educated or being someone who understands the world comes specifically from reading.
Mhm.
I have to read a book. I can't read some like PDF online. I can't watch a movie. I can't watch a documentary. I have to read this, and the print needs to be very small, and it needs to be a very thick book. Otherwise, it's not knowledge. It
Right.
can't be a realization that I come to on my own. It can't be in a state of reflection or anything. I have to read it. Dense book, difficult. The syntactic structure needs to be a little bit challenging. Otherwise, it's not actual knowledge.
Right.
I also don't think that this is actually true when I think about it for
I
more
know,
than like a second, right?
but
Um,
I get what you're saying.
yeah, I mean, ha- again, viewing you from as an observer on the outside, um, I think you know a whole lot more than you think you do, and also everything that we talked about around like the taste and the perspectives and all those things is something that I believe truly that you possess because otherwise you won't be able to do what you are doing, or you wouldn't be able to do it in such a way where you create something that resonates so much with people like myself and a bunch of others. And like, yeah, sure, you go a little far sometimes, and it's a little like shocking. And oh, okay, can I like this? Am I allowed to? But
Yeah.
but
Are you
also,
afraid of posts? You
um,
just don't share 'em or whatever, or just like them without liking them. I
but
don't care.
yeah, but I think give yourself some credit where credit is due. Like you clearly you know a lot of stuff, and you have a taste that shows that you view the world in um, I think a critical sense, which I would rather um, talk to like or surround myself with critical thinkers than people that are not that have just read a bunch of books. You know,
Mhm.
so that's my take on that. And I'm telling you, but I'm also telling myself a little because
Sure.
it
No, I
applies.
appreciate that. Yeah.
What was our, I guess, take two of this interview like compared to your expectations?
Better. I think that I was very nervous last time, and it took me a while to warm up
Yeah.
because like our exchanges have been, just through text,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so being in a face to face thing took some adjusting. I'm like that with everybody. I think
Mm.
I used to think that I was more comfortable with people, but I think now it is like I have to like warm up and like make sure I'm safe or whatever.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, this one I think more natural.
Yeah,
It
I
flowed
agree.
better.
It's a little bit more
Yeah.
like relaxed.
Hmm.
Oh, I forgot to ask you. I think I asked you last time, but who should I talk to next? Who would you like to see a
Oh,
conversation with?
I'll keep saying this. I know she won't do it. I think Pilates' wife would be good. I think Beverly would be good because
Mm.
she's super funny. You talked to Suffering Meat. I'd said that was a good one.
Mm.
I don't know. Breeding Castle. She's really good. She's super interesting. Has a very interesting uh, life with the internet, like her
Mm.
history with the internet. I'll let her speak for herself on that though.
Mm.
She's also eating a lot of raw meat right now, which is fucking weird. Like she's just going around the city she lives in and asking them to serve her raw meat, which I think is awesome. I don't know who else. Oh, I don't know if he would do it either, but for Persona non grata, I
Mm.
think it'd be great. But he's also on that sketchier end of things.
Yeah.
But he's also super anonymous. I don't think he's ever. He's. I think he's exposed his voice, but that's it. But he's someone that I was like, he would be a good smaller account. But
Mm.
yeah, that's definitely like on the sketchier side of things.
Speaking of anonymity, I've noticed that my screen recording is including your last name because
Uh huh.
your name is apparently a little bit longer than the other ones. Do you want me to blur it out or crop it out somehow before I share this online?
I don't care.
Okay.
I don't think it really matters. My personal account's linked to it. I mean, what's gonna happen? I'm gonna get doxxed.
I,
Like,
I doubt
it
it,
could
but yeah,
happen.
yeah, you never know.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. This. Yeah.
I will take this recording, send it to you. What I do is I watch these at double speed because I bore myself listening to myself speaking this
Sure.
monotonous whatever. But if I watch it at double speed, I'm like, damn, this guy's engaging. This guy's on top of stuff. What a charismatic
Right.
interviewer. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, but anyway, I'll send it to you shortly. Thank you again, like so much um, for being like the guinea pig for this whole thing, for being the first one to
Yeah.
volunteer, and for being a really nice guy to talk to. And I had a lot of fun the first time, and I had a lot of fun today. So like, thank you. If there's a follow up, I'll reach out to you, and hopefully we can do this again sometime.
For sure, dude.
All
I
right.
really appreciate it.
Thank you. Talk soon.
All right. Later.
Bye.